Hi, my name is Maxime Lamothe-Brassard. I'm co-founder at LimaCharlie. Super happy to be talking a little bit about our product updates today. So LimaCharlie, to kind of paint a high-level picture for those that aren't aware. So we're an AWS-like platform that offers cybersecurity primitives. So briefly, what that means is that, like AWS, it's the way that you interact with us. Meaning everything we do is self-serve, scale up, scale down, build per usage, OEM friendly, multi-tenant. And the primitives that we have on top of that just means that they are security solutions that are designed to be like, mix and match, like a Lego block set, so that you can assemble the right type of security solution that you're looking for for your organization. That includes into getting very deep visibility into the things that you're detecting and responding and automating. So let's just jump into a little bit of a recap over the last few months. We've rolled out a lot of different new products over the last few months, and so we will have a quick look at what those were, and then for the future, for the next product updates, they will be a little bit more short term. And what we'll do is that for each new product or new feature that we rolled out, we will go and do a demo and kind of show you how you can leverage that, the types of integrations, the ways that you could work with that feature. So let's get started. So what we are looking at now, for those that have been with us before, it is the way that you can add sensors into LimaCharlie. So specifically, right, we have our sensors. You can see a bunch of different types of platforms. I'll just click Add Sensor. And in the past few months, I'll go through and kind of narrate a little bit some of the solutions that we've rolled out. So the biggest really feature we've rolled out recently was the ability to ingest external telemetry. And what that means is that you can now bring in pretty much anything into LimaCharlie in terms of logs. Get that in real time with our retention, through our automation engine, and through the output layer. So you can get it summarized, transformed, and sent wherever it needs it, whether it's a data lake or webhooks or whatever you need. So specifically, in the first kind of set of solutions that we rolled out was support for AWS CloudTrail Logs. So obviously, you can now bring those in directly cloud to cloud, meaning you don't need to deploy anything from S3 or SQS in AWS, and you can connect those to be ingested directly into LimaCharlie. Equivalent of that, it would be the GCP platform logs, which we've done in a very similar way, except in GCP land, that would be through PubSub or Google Cloud Storage. And then we added 1Password integration. So the 1Password integration allows you to take the audit logs that are coming in from 1Password, all of the events, right? Let's say somebody punching in, their password wrong a couple of different times, or 2FA fails, all those kinds of signals. So coming into LimaCharlie, so you can build automation around it. And a huge one that we launched with was VMware Carbon Black. So really, this was really important for us because it was the first EDR that we put out compatibility for. And what's really important calling out with Carbon Black is that it will do normalization and encapsulation. So if you are let's say an MSSP doing MDR with, you have a bunch of different types of customers. This was a really big one because it means that you can now plug in their Carbon Black install into LimaCharlie and get, the retentions of the year of retention out of the box, the ability to apply all of the other automation rules that you had for the LimaCharlie EDR now transparently apply to Carbon Black. So that means you don't need to re-engineer your pipeline or re-engineer, what's a new process in X versus Y. We kind of take care of all that complexity. And the encapsulation means that you never lose the original. So you're able to always refer to very specific Carbon Black fields if you need it. And that was the first, Carbon Black was the first of the EDR. but we have added several over time, so over the last few months. So we have added compatibility for Microsoft Defender, and we have most recently added compatibility for CrowdStrike. So we're super happy about that one as well. So we can now take the pretty detailed CrowdStrike telemetry, bring that in, normalize it. So that means that, if you're on LimaCharlie, as you get different types of customers using different types of tools like EDR, you can just bring some sanity to managing across the board without having to, take care of hundreds of mapping rules. We similarly to 1Password in a way, so we have brought in Office 365 audit logs, again, cloud to cloud, so you don't have to deploy anything anywhere. We've also added something that is not cloud to cloud, which is the Windows event logs. So this is through the LimaCharlie adapter. So that's the LimaCharlie binary for Windows, Mac, Linux that you can bring on-prem wherever you'd like, and configure to ingest from the ton of different sources. So that could be, tailing a file, or being a standard in or a syslog endpoint, or in this case, to listen on the local box through the Windows APIs for Windows event logs and bring those into LimaCharlie. So it's a very different type. For example, if you have some large domain controllers, things like that, it makes it easy to deploy and get those logs into LimaCharlie without having to always deploy an EDR. Sometimes that's just a better solution. Duo, very similarly to 1Password, a lot around authentication. GitHub audit logs was really exciting for us because we use GitHub. We hear a lot about supply chain, attacks nowadays. There's, for a lot of organizations, GitHub is really becoming a cornerstone of a lot of the intellectual property. And this audit log allows you to start developing, things like automation, like, I think that some of the demo detections that we put out there when we made the announcement around, hey, somebody outside of working hours has been cloning over 5 repos within a minute. And, this is, and not from an automated account. So things that could indicate, maybe somebody is about to do something that they shouldn't, access to a whole lot of code, copy it somewhere where it's not intended. So really interesting types of access patterns that can be automated that way. Same with Slack. So many companies use Slack at a really core level. So this allows you, again, to kind of look at where are people logging it from, looking at anomalies around the Slack audit logs. Super cool. Finally, it's the common event format. So CEF logs, which are really common in things like firewalls and kind of very high flow, like things like firewalls and routers and some SIMs. So it's a pretty common type of format that allows you to exchange in a somewhat standard way, information about what's happening between different systems. So we now support it directly, which means that you might have some, let's say, a Fortinet firewall that sits on-prem somewhere, and you want to bring in those logs into LimaCharlie. You can do that trivially through the adapter. Just connect that in. You could then do some summarization or some sampling off those logs and send that to your SIM. So that's kind of a fairly common pattern for people using CEF logs in LimaCharlie. So that is kind of an overview of probably the last 4 months of what we've been adding. You can see we're adding a ton of stuff very, very quickly. And honestly, we have a superpower in how we've designed all of this to be able to scale new data sources really, really easily. So if there's something that's important to you, please let us know. We're more than happy to work on adding those as first class. But of course, you're never stopped by LimaCharlie, right? So worth calling out that we have generic sources like text and syslog and JSON logs that allow you to define yourself different log sources, how to parse them into JSON, how you want to manipulate them, how you want to do indexing on them, all that kind of stuff. So that's always available to you as well. So the other big feature that we released over the last 2 months was the ability to get more visibility into the detection rules. As you probably know, in LimaCharlie, you can enable some rule sets very easily. And one of them is the Sigma rule set. So Sigma is this great open source, both project and tool to go and have a common language to create detection rules or queries, and to apply them to different kind of technologies. So we have support for Sigma, which means that we can take the open source rule set that comes along with this, so from the community, thousands of rules, and go and apply that into LimaCharlie with a single click. So that's really easy. In the past, however, you would not be able to see those rules being applied. So we were not showing those rules. What we now do is that we've started exposing those rules. So now you can see here, we have like the list of all of those rules that are applied, which is really cool. You can enable and disable individual rules as well. So sometimes, one of the rules is, spams a lot. So you're able to turn it off at will and reactivate it. Over time, we will also be adding tags relating to each of those rules. So for example, we'll be able to say, hey, this rule says that it is, on the topic of attack technique T1004 or whatever it is. And so you'll be able to view those tags beside the rules, and you will be able to apply some advanced filtering on that. So you'll be able to slice and dice your rule set, see how you're protecting your organization. So if we go and we pick a specific role and we just click into it, so in this case, you'll have an interface to go apply your own tags, enable, disable. You'll have the ability to replay a specific rule, right, against historical data in your tenant, so that you can test it over time or see how a new rule performed in the past. You can also, we just provide you a link directly to the LimaCharlie rule itself. So all of the rules that we convert from the Sigma language into LimaCharlie are in a public repo. So this allows you to go and start comparing, hey, if I look up this rule in Sigma, how does that get translated into a LimaCharlie DNR rule? So that's also a great way to start learning about specific rules, about specific features in LimaCharlie, and how to start building your own rules in directly in the DNR rule format, so detection response rule in LimaCharlie, which will give you a lot more kind of power and deep integration into LimaCharlie. So this is super exciting as well for us because we know that it's great to have a lot of rules from Sigma or the Soteria rules, which is another rule set that people can subscribe to. But it's really important for us to really live up to the transparency kind of ideal that we put forward. And so this is really going to give you that visibility into what's actually going on, and see whether you're protected against maybe a specific MITRE attack technique, and if so, what different rules cover that, and really start digging in. Cool. So thanks for watching this kind of short recap of the last few months of products. There's going to be a ton more coming up in the future. Super excited about it, and more excited about also kind of sitting down and really going through those features, kind of showing the example usages and how to leverage them. So looking forward to next time. Thank you.